technologically advanced weapons, loose morals, and a culture of conflict. Now let's take a step through each of those letters.
Why are you watching that now?
It's the orientation video.
I know what it is. Why are you watching it now?
Well, I mean, we're about to be shot at, so I figured it couldn't hurt to brush up on our healthcare package.
If you weren't paying attention to the briefing, I don't think you'll live long enough for your copay to matter.
So I should be reviewing the life insurance policy.
You know, our job interview has a 5% mortality rate. Statistically, the odds were low that you would die before we hired you, but I allowed myself to be an optimist.
Developer Volition Saints Row originally started off as an open-world game that was clearly trying to compete with Grand Theft Auto. But slowly and steadily, it built its own niche by owning in on its slapstick humor and over-the-top action set pieces over the course of multiple entries. Of course, most would agree that Saints Row 4 went a little overboard with the superhero stuff, and following the divisive reception from critics and fans, the series was put on hold. All these years later, the Saints are back with a bang. Although this shiny new reboot doesn't really bring anything new to the open-world genre, it manages to find a good balance between a sense of groundedness and the franchise's signature over-the-top action, which makes for a thrilling experience through and through. Upon booting Saints Row for the first time, you're tasked with creating the boss through the detailed character customizer that allows you to change facial designs and your preferred voice, basically the whole 9 yards. Apart from the boss, there's Kevin, a part-time disc jockey and a member of the Idols Collective. Then there's Eli, a simple guy with a knack of setting up businesses and a natural liking for entrepreneurial podcasts. Finally, there's Nina, the gearhead getaway driver for the Los Panteros gang. The four of them share a common apartment and are involved in criminal activity and other not-so-legal side hustles in an effort to pay their massive student loans and monthly rent. You start out as a member of the Marshall Private Military, which sees you undertaking a high-stakes operation to capture a criminal that requires you to plow through hordes of enemies and gang members, blow up bridges, and hijack a ride on a jet, all that in the span of a few minutes. Which sets the tone for what's to follow. After this action-packed opening sequence, your boss character takes part in more daring missions, many of which involve coming face-to-face with your roommate's gang members. Of course, all hell breaks loose at one point, and the four finally decide to start their own gang in the city, which is called the Saints. The story takes you through a journey from rags to riches, as you set up businesses and cross paths with other rival gangs in the sun-soaked town of Santo Ileso. There's the Idols Collective, a group of anarchists with a liking for everything neon and bright pink. Then there's Los Panteros, a group of muscular thugs that also happen to be gearheads. Finally, there's Marshall, a private militia that provides protection to anyone affluent enough to pay up for its massive fees. The game's writing itself is filled with profanities and gags, some of which can be hilarious while others fail to stick the landing, which can result in inconsistent experiences at times. It's not all a one-tone affair, as some story beats will shed a much-needed light on a character's backstory, which adds to their personality and helps in establishing a bond with them. The missions themselves range from intervening in a huge enemy convoy to participating in a violent blood sport to helping out a friend complete a campaign in live-action role-playing. All in all, there's a lot of variety within the missions, but most of them ultimately boil down to mowing down everyone in the room, proceeding to the next area, and doing it all over again. Thankfully though, Saints Row features a simple but effective combat system. The boss is nimble and efficient with firearms, allowing you to wield anything from a simple pistol to a sniper rifle to a rocket launcher. The combat is pretty fast-paced, as you juggle between different enemies and dodge through gunfire in split seconds. On top of being mostly dumb and inaccurate, at least on normal difficulty, the enemy AI tends to glitch out at times, which results in an enemy looking the other way around or getting stuck in an endless animation cycle. That said though, the game will often pit you against dozens upon dozens of enemies at any given time, so these issues don't amount to much in the general heat of battle. As you wither down your enemy's health bars, you will accumulate flow points that allow you to use a few special abilities, which range from shoving a grenade down your enemy's pants to throwing a landmine to landing an explosive punch. You gather much of these abilities as you level up your character, and active abilities can be swapped through the use of in-game skill app on your phone. Vehicular Combat also plays an important role in the majority of Saints Row's missions and remains an absolute blast, both literally and figuratively. You can ram your opponents to the side of a road or down a cliff, and you can shoot through the window or the roof. The vehicles themselves control really well, and while they can feel a little bit arcadey for some, it all works well here. You will often find yourself making your way through wrecked cars and jeeps during a getaway, and that kind of mayhem never gets old. There's plenty of options to choose from in terms of vehicles as well, ranging from motorbikes to hoverbikes to monster trucks to helicopters and much more. Between experiencing the story and shooting down your enemies, you will spend the majority of your time expanding your Saints Empire, and that's done through the Empire table in your headquarters. You can use your hard-earned cash to start out new businesses within the city which act as fronts for all sorts of activities. These criminal ventures provide you with a fixed hourly income, which gives you more cash to set up more of these businesses over time. You also need to complete activities with these criminal ventures, which range from delivering trucks with radioactive material into a dump to collecting cars for your garage to defeating rival houses in a game of live-action role-playing. As you complete these challenges, you advance your Empire rank, opening up more business opportunities that further your grip within the city. While these side activities do mostly follow the usual open-world model, they can be fun distractions from the main quest nevertheless. Santo Ileso is a big place, and there's no shortage of side hustles to pursue should you wish for some extra cash. You can participate in wingsuit challenges and getaway trails that are peppered throughout the landscape, or you could track down dumpster hunts which shower you with XP and valuable loot. There are clothes to buy, cars to customize, and guns to buy. Again, this is all pretty formulaic open world stuff, but works fairly well within the framework of the game. Over on the visual front, Saints Row can be a pretty inconsistent game. There are times when the game can look absolutely gorgeous when you're zooming through the streets in a sports car, all while the sun shines through your reflective car body. But at other times, you are subjected to blurry and unexpressive character models that are comparable to a 7th generation console game. Thankfully though, the performance remained mostly solid throughout the experience, and Saints Row offers a decent variety of graphical presets to prioritize resolution or frame rate. All things considered, Saints Row is a worthy reboot for the franchise. It's not something that reinvents the wheel. It's a pretty formulaic open world that comes with most of the genre's trappings. But in the face of its fast and frenzied gameplay loop and varied mission designs, these gripes get reduced into minor inconveniences as you embark on a journey to become the biggest gang in Santo Ileso. Hey, did you know that we at GamingBolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.